All right, what's good, everybody? It's your girl Kai. I know it's been a minute, but we're back. Today we interviewed actor and producer Kendrick Sampson. He's best known for his work on Insecure and How to Get Away with Murder, and he is also an activist for presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Let's check out what he had to say. Hi, I'm here with actor, producer, and Bernie supporter Kendrick Sampson. Thanks for talking with us today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, why do you think it's important, especially for millennials and Gen Z, because I'm kind of in between that, they're not really thinking about voting that much, but why do you think it's important for them to vote and to vote for Bernie Sanders?
Well, you know what's crazy is I actually think that Gen Z and millennials have been coming out in droves. Well, we saw in 2018 what was largely inspired by the political revolution. In 2018, that young people were coming out in magical numbers, like and that
Midterms is crazy.
midterms was amazing, and we, because of that unprecedented turnout, we got unprecedented elections, right? We got people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. Like these are really dope, and even local elections, city council elections, school boards that people were paying attention to that they usually don't, right? And midterm elections are usually a joke to a lot of people. People do not pay attention to them. They have record low numbers, but 2018 was like a general presidential election in terms of the turnout, and that was largely inspired by what I saw in the political revolution in 2016 through Bernie's campaign. And now, what I say a lot of the time is, especially with people of color, young people of color, black people, that, there are counties all over, like especially in Texas. I'm assuming that a lot of y'all's viewing is going to be from Texas, but especially in Texas, you literally have, I think the state is 44% white, right? And so that leaves a big number of people of color all over the state, which means you have, even in the most rural areas, black and brown people. And a lot of the time, what decides elections in these counties is a few older, faithful, conservative, white people. And what we've seen is when we come out, the higher the voter turnout is, period. The higher the voter turnout is, progressive campaigns win. And in those elections, in those rural towns or in districts in the city, the way they've been gerrymandered and all of that, in Texas, there are people of color all over those counties, and they can sway those elections by a few votes. Literally by a few votes. And so that's why it's so important, and people, I think young people have been the loudest conscience of this country recently, right?
Especially with social media.
With social media and with a lot of people that, I know you've seen a lot of the campaigns of saying, well, older people, which is not necessarily true, but older people don't care about the earth because they're not going to be here long enough to inherit all the, but that's not 100% true. I think especially older indigenous and black people have been fighting for environmental change because they see, for decades, because they've seen what is happening in our communities. But young people have been taking that over. Chetesco and Isra Omar, I think Ilhan's daughter, and like so many really dope, Little Miss Flint, and young people are taking charge of that movement. And even Black Lives Matter, that was a young movement. The people that started that were young, and the people that followed it were young. And we have changed the culture to make people who don't care actually care. And now we just need to translate that. All of those tweets and hashtags and conversations that we have with each other, with our peers, with young people, we need to translate that into numbers at the polls, because that's how we change the world that we want to see. Otherwise, we're allowing people that don't agree with us, that are very few in number in a lot of counties, decide our elections for us.
Wow. Switching gears just real quick.
and therefore decide our lives for. But go
Exactly,
ahead.
exactly. Well, switching gears real quick, just one more question. I know you were in season 3 of Insecure, one of my favorites. So I just wanted to ask you what it was like working with Issa Rae.
Issa Rae is dope. She's incredible. She's also an incredible leader. You know, she's you know, an entrepreneur. She is fun, like hilarious. You know, great to work with on set. I don't get, you know, it's very rare that you get to have that much fun when you're not shooting. You know, I know it's a comedy and you would think, but like even I've been on other comedies where we didn't have nearly as much fun.
She's
you
a
know?
genuine person.
She's a genuine person. She's just dope. She's very talented. She's beautiful as hell. She's just like super, super, super dope. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you using your platform to support political views as well as Black creators.
Of course.
And just thank you for speaking with us today.
Of course.
All right. All right, that was today's episode of What's Good. If you liked episodes like that, please subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter at whatsgood_95. Peace.